And welcome back to another episode of Insight from Above. I hope you did enjoy the previous episode and what we brought to you so far. Today it will be another interesting episode, which we have a very special guest today. Her name is Marie Amram, and Marie has a lot of experience in her domain. She is a very specific nutritionist. I could say that. I know she'd give me the word, but it's very hard for me to pronounce it, so I will let her take over that. She's gonna talk to us about how food and body and mind actually go together. What kind of food that we can input in our body to help our body. And with that being said, I will welcome Marie to our show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to speak with your viewers, the people of Rockland. I came to Rockland a few years ago to your fair, and I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm very happy that you had the time to give us today. So what exactly do you do? Nurturing? I know you told me, but I can't even say it.
It's nurturing Ayurveda.
Ayurveda. So what is exactly?
So the base of my work is to help people recover their gut health, their gut comfort, and their digestive power. This is the base because from there everything else goes better, right? Mm-hmm. And I am a health and diet educator in Sva Ayurveda. And Ayurveda means, Ayur means life, mm-hmm. and Veda means the knowledge of how to make life thrive.
Nice.
And Sva stands for Shakavansya Ayurveda, which is the name of the family lineage of my teacher. My teacher was brought up in India in a family of Ayurvedic doctors, and then he moved to the States where he was invited because he was an award-winning product formulator.
Oh.
And then he opened his own practice, and I got a chance to learn from him, to take courses. And I met him at a time where I was ill myself, so I was searching for solutions for my own health. And that took all my interest, and I started my own practice.
So, if you don't mind, what was your health issue before you get into this?
My health issue was a lifelong history of inflammation.
So you mean inflammation of the joints, inflammation of...
It was more of the digestive system. You know, I had indigestions, migraine, headaches, things like that. And I had no idea, you know, where it came from, but I know it was inherited also a bit. It ran in my family. And I wanted to know how to manage that because I went through a burnout.
Oh.
And as I went through the burnout, I started searching, you know, deeper. Mm-hmm. And I discovered my teacher by reading his article on how to alkalize the body. And all the information I had read before online was all the same, you know, with list of foods and everything, but they didn't give me a method to understand why these foods would be helping or not. And some of them didn't help me, so it didn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. And his article was How to Balance the Balancing Factor by Vajrakant Mishra. And that lit a light bulb for me. I started understanding how the food I put in my body and the spices could really help balance or imbalance
your body.
My body.
And this is just with the spice and the food, the regular food that we eat on a daily basis.
Yes, and there's also, of course, formulation that he developed that are very special because Sva Ayurveda has something a little bit different, mm-hmm. you know, from the regular Ayurveda, is that my teacher has experienced with this, what he calls the modern physiology. Mm-hmm. And like medicine now is finding out that most of our illnesses come from inflammation.
Yes.
And so he saw that when we take regular herbs orally and things like that, it actually aggravates inflammation. Inflammation makes the body react in a different way that we would expect. and it prevents the body from healing. So he designed new products. He designed them differently so we don't have to ingest the physical herb, but we get the subtle aspect of the plant. So I used some of these products to help my liver, to help different areas of my body too. But what made the big turnout was to change my way of cooking.
I see. So how did you change your way of cooking?
Well, before, when I was searching for solutions, I read online many things, and for example, to give you an example, I read that ginger is good for you.
Yes.
For your digestion, your elimination, and so on. And I started cooking every day with it. But as it turned out, that was not good for me. It made my migraines more and so on. And it's when I learned from my teacher that I understood why. Since we have different body types,
yes.
You heard about body types.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
And my type was to have easily inflammation and heat. And some spices may be too heating for a person and perfect for another. So when I started discovering my body type, I was able to use spices to change my health.
Oh, so you're right. I hear about ginger is so good for you. It's so good for the immune system. If you drink it, if you eat it. But in your case, ginger actually, it didn't help you at all.
No.
It did the opposite to your body.
Yes.
So each one of us have different body, absolutely, and different DNA. So what can work for one person, it's not going to work for another person.
Exactly.
So how did you start changing your cooking, or how do you discover what is good for you?
Well, it's for everything. We need to be taught. We need a teacher, right?
Yes.
Because it would take lifetimes to test everything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so the thing we learn in Ayurveda is what kind of foods trigger inflammation. That's one of the main things that I teach also. So during a consultation, that's what people learn. What is their body type first, and they understand it better. And also what are the trigger foods that will aggravate them, and what are the foods that will comfort them or stabilize their body or restore the energy of their digestive system. And so I stopped using heating spices, and I started what we call in Ayurveda cooling my system.
Okay, what is the heating spices?
So the heating spices, and some are very good. I mean, they're excellent, but we have to know the degree of heat that they bring in the body. So the most heating that we, by the way, don't recommend because they tend to burn the nervous system in the gut. So there are red chili peppers, and paprika, and garlic, onion. These are the most burning. And the warm spices that some may be able to use are green Thai chili, because it has a cooling quality with it. So it's a different makeup.
So instead of using the red chili, you use the green.
The green Thai chili, because it's more balanced. You see, in Ayurveda, we look for things that are balanced.
Okay.
Not just burning or just cooling, but balanced.
What about garlic and onions? I mean, all my life, that's what we cook with.
I know.
Garlic, like most of my food is based on garlic and onions.
I know.
So how do we change that? Even the taste of the food will change.
I know. It's the person has to have a desire for it. I'm not imposing or anything.
No.
And the people who come to a spa practitioner are people who have gut issues or illnesses that they want to support their system. So there is a desire to get better. So that is what makes us accept to change our habits.
So your technique is really to concentrate on the digesting system itself, not the inflammation of the joint or not the inflammation around your body. Is basically to take care of the digesting system.
That is a good question.
Okay.
Because actually, the inflammation that we are experiencing in the joints or for example, the burning, the eczema we get on the skin,
Yes.
they are just expressions outward of a problem that is inward. And nowadays we're discovering more and more that the inflammation starts in the center of the body where digestion is happening.
So it's all at the level of the gut.
Yes,
So
and the organs also. And the first culprit, you could say, but we should say the victim is the liver.
The liver.
Because, you see, we have so much toxicity going on in our lives. And even the creams we use for our hands, everything has to be processed by the liver. And everything nowadays is chemical.
Yes.
And so that's one of the characteristics of the modern physiology, is that the liver, for most of us, is hot, as we call it, aggravated. So it doesn't filter well the toxins. And so the toxins go to your joints, to your skin. The body tries to get rid of them, and it puts them where there's space, in the joints.
I see.
And so when you have this type of inflammation, when you avoid these hot spices, or you reduce black pepper. Black pepper is also hot, but we need those spices.
Yes.
Eh? And
what about if you use white pepper?
You can mix them.
You can
it's
mix
even
them?
better.
Okay.
Yeah, you can mix them. And
I was just trying to, because all the spice you're talking about is all the spice I use in my food, and it's like, oh my God, what I'm creating in my gut here, that's gonna be so it's just finding the proper spice to use as we're cooking.
And it's very individual.
It's very individual.
So you may benefit from these spices when someone else might not.
That's true.
And the issue is when you have a family and you have different body types and conditions and tendencies. So there's ways of cooking that I teach. So people the whole family can have a meal that is suitable for them.
For them.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to go for a pause. And when we come back, we are going to ask Marie to give us a demonstration on how can she diagnose and how can she come to a solution for the individual that she has or the person that she has. We'll be back in a moment. And now we're back with Marie Armand. And she's gonna we're gonna pretend that I am her patient or her client, and I'm going to see her and how she's gonna conduct the evaluation and how to help me on a personal level. Put in mind that every one of us is different. Every one of us has different DNA. So what probably worked for me is not gonna work for somebody else. So this is actually, she's gonna give me this for me. So what fits my body, and this is how she conduct her evaluation with each person that goes here. So Marie, now I'm gonna be like a client coming to see you, and I actually do have issues with my joints. I suffer from bursitis and I have fibromyalgia. So like you said, it has to be something inside to exterior.
Yes.
So when I come and see you, how you start with your client?
Well, first of all, I explain to the client that I don't diagnose illness. This is not part of my work. What I do is that I use the tool of pulse reading, which is different from the modern medical reading.
Okay.
Where I will be able to read in your system is if, for example, the liver is hot, which I first of all suspect if you have fibromyalgia or this joint pain, usually the heat comes from the liver being aggravated.
Okay.
So the pulse reading will tell me where the energy flows, where it's blocked, and it will help me have an idea of inflammation in your gut. I can read those things.
So how do you do it?
So I read both pulses. And maybe you can remove the...
Oh, yeah?
Just the bracelets are okay.
Okay,
So
I
there's
can
no
remove them too.
tightness. Yes, and so you can just sit and relax and let me. My hands are cold.
That's okay.
It's winter, eh?
Yes, I know. The snow's still there.
So you can just relax your arm, and when I press, I can read the. And it's usually done in silence, and then I will read the other. Oh, sorry, it's a bit tight. So after I read the pulse, um, I usually work with the person with their history, because I don't want to just tell them what I read. I want to also connect with the issues that they have been diagnosed with a doctor and so on, and I want to make sure I read it right also, right? So it confirms my reading, and so I would ask the person. If they had any surgery that would show there had been a major issue with the body. And I will also go over how the person feels. You know, usually, do you feel like your body is stuck most of the time? Or do you feel like when you wake up in the morning, you feel a bit tired and sad, maybe? And all those questions that I ask indicate the power of digestion, how the person is doing in her routine, and so on. So my question to you will be, sorry.
That's okay. You can ask me.
So we don't have the form. Usually I send the person a form that is quite detailed about their history. And that helps me connect my reading with what they are experiencing and what they have been diagnosed with. And I can see where the system of Ayurveda can help the system. So in your case, I saw a difference in the reading between the left and the right, which is normal.
Okay.
But for me, can I just develop a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this is an indication, since I was able to read your left arm very easily, which is the side of your lunar energy, you know, the energy that is cooler, that is helping your system recover when it has overheated, or in the case of inflammation, that's the side that receives the moon energy that helps your body cool.
Okay.
But the right side, which is the warm side, you could say, where we receive the sun energy to fuel our digestive power and so on, it's a little bit, it's not flowing so much.
Okay.
So this not flowing of the prana, we call it, the chi, can be an indication that there is inflammation. So my first reading would be that there is a system of heat that is creating blockages there. And so as I go on with my consultation, I would explain to the person that what is entitled in their body type, their tendencies, you know. And within your body type, there's a lot of earthy element, which is a beautiful element.
Thank you.
It gives stability and versatility, you know, in communication and so on. And you have also the water energy.
Yes.
So it's more kapha, I would say.
Kapha?
Kapha, it's called. It's an energy that draws on the earth and the moon. And that gives also this ability you have with the heart and everything. However, your solar side, your pitta, we call it, would need some cooling.
And how, in my case, how would you do that?
So in your case, we can use DGL sometime to help the body right away by putting on the skin, on the liver, to cool the liver, and on the spine to help.
What is that? Is that a cream? Is that?
It's a deglycerized licorice.
Oh, okay.
To give you an example, and I may recommend those herbs that we apply directly on the skin.
Okay.
So we don't have to go through the digestive system, because herbs can aggravate the liver when there's inflammation there. And so I would recommend you something cooling to put directly on your spine and your liver. And from there, I would go with you about explaining. I would ask you and read your form, because there in the form you would have told me what is your current diet. And I would go over it with you to the points, to the foods that are aggravating. And so I would tell you, I could ask you to, we don't have the form right.
That's okay.
So
but let's say if I eat a lot of garlic and a lot of onions, and I like spicy food, I'm Egyptian, I like spicy food. So would this have an effect on my solar side of the body?
You see, the solar side is the sympathetic system and the lunar side is the parasympathetic, and they balance each other. If there's too much pungency in the diet, for example, even if it is good for you, you may benefit from pungency. It's good for you, but you may want to choose a different kind, or if you can't stop using garlic, for example, put less. Or have meals where there's less.
Okay.
That would get, help cool your system.
Okay.
And
I saw that you have a book too, and the book is The Healing Thyroid. And we all know that our thyroid is the thermostat of the body. So this is something that people really don't look into it. And I find even doctors in the medical field, they kind of overpass or they overlook the thyroid. So in that book, in your book, do you talk about certain food and how food works with your body in that book?
I didn't write the book.
Okay.
I brought the book to you. My teacher, one of my teachers wrote it. And I just received it yesterday, so I was glad to share it with you and your viewers. And the purpose of this book is to explain how she and our teacher started finding new protocols to heal the thyroid that modern medicine is not really addressing successfully. What she saw is a lot of her patients were under medical treatments for thyroid, but they were not feeling happy with it. It was not helping, or they were not sure it was helping. And with this method that they developed, Vadia Misha and Dr. Teitelbaum, they are really able to address the issue and reverse it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the principle behind it is what we discussed about earlier, that instead of just the principle and that's about what we discussed earlier, the principle is to cool the system, because when the body is inflamed or the thyroid has issues with inflammation, it won't react really to the medicine the right way. And we're not addressing the very bottom issue. The issue of the problem may lie further down in the system being inflamed. And so again, here there's a lot of recipes on how to cleanse toxicity without aggravating the liver. And there's advice about foods as well that you can use. And
So do you give cooking classes too?
I do give cooking classes.
So if somebody is interested about your cooking classes, how can they reach you? How can they reach you?
They can go on my website.
Okay, what is your website?
My website is www.vibrationofbalance.weebly.com.
Would you repeat it again, just in case that you didn't
Okay.
get the first time?
www.vibrationofbalance.weebly.com.
So, Marie, I want to thank you so much for today. It was a great eye opener for sure, and I hope that next time maybe you can come and you can show us how to put the food together. That will help. That would be another episode. So, if you have any, and again, I want to thank Marie Armand for today. And if you have any questions, if you have anything that you would like us to bring to you, you can also write at info at tvc22.ca, or you can call our office at 613-446-6037. And until we meet again, thank you for joining us today, and like we say, namaste.